Everyone, and welcome to this exciting meeting of the Lewis and Clark County Commission for Thursday, April 24th. We will start this meeting with a Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, we'll start out with the introduction of the panel here. I'm Candace Payne. I'm chair of the commission. To my immediate left is Commissioner Tom Rolfe.
Good morning, Chair Payne.
And Brandy Spangler is clear over there, and she is the one who controls the whole situation, keeping us in line and on time. To my immediate right is Commissioner Andy Hunthausen. Good morning, Andy. And then we've got the folks from the County Attorney's Office, Nico Hash and Keegan Shea. Pretty good, huh? Good morning. And to their immediate right is Roger Balls, who is the Chief Administrative Officer for this operation. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. That being done, we will move into our consent action item. And Roger?
Chair Payne and Commissioners, you have one item this morning. It's item 2A on the agenda. It's vendor claims report for the week ending April 25th, 2025. Staff recommends approval, and Marni Bentley is here as usual for this item. Thank you, Commissioners.
Just for the record, all of the county commissioners have reviewed this vendor's report and all the items on it. And we don't have any questions for Marni, do we, Tom? No. Andy? Okay. Is there any public comment? In that case, can we have a motion?
Chair Payne, I would move to approve consent action item 2A, vendor claims report for the week ending April 25th, 25, as explained by Mr. Baltz.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Is there any more discussion of this consent action item? Seeing none, let's have a vote. It has been moved and seconded that we approve the vendor claims report for the week ending April 25th, 2025. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Motion passes 3-0. Moving right along. Action items. This is action item 3A, amendment to the grant award between Lewis and Clark County and the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services, to be presented by our friend Kellie McBride. Morning, Kellie. Is that turned on?
It is now.
Thank
Good
you.
morning, Chair Payne, Commissioners. Yes, the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services, Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities Division awarded Lewis and Clark County Department of Criminal Justice Services $311,818.19 through the Healing and Ending Addiction Through Recovery and Treatment Initiative, or HEART for short. The purpose of this funding is to improve a community's capacity to respond to the behavioral health needs of people incarcerated in local detention facilities. Implementing behavioral health services within detention facilities provides an opportunity to initiate care for individuals during a time of high need and facilitate more successful community integration upon discharge. I will say, I don't think I told you who I was, but I'm Kellie McBride with Department of Criminal Justice Services. And I do want to add that I have with me Jillian Denisi. She is our behavioral health supervisor.
Would you have them stand up so that we can
Oh,
tell
yes.
which one is which? Thank you.
This is Janillian Jillian Denisi. She is the
Jillian?
behavioral health supervisor. And next to her is Alexia Clark. And Alexia is the education and transition coordinator. And her office is in the detention center. So works for criminal justice services, but works in the detention center. And I have some great numbers on things that Alexia has done over this past year. So now I'll continue with the memo before you. The award will support the existing offered behavioral health services in our county's detention center for fiscal year 25. This includes funding for the county's behavioral health therapist, licensed addiction counselor, case manager, and education and transition coordinator. The attached contract is an amendment to the award period July 1st, 2022 through June 30th of 2024. The amended contract reflects a contract extension for award period July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. We request that the commission approve acceptance of Heart Initiative Grant Award Amendment in the amount of $311,818.19 from the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services, Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities Division. And I do want to take just a second, if you'll allow me. So in quarter 3 of fiscal year 25, which is this most recent quarter, the behavioral health team had a total of 623 interventions. That's pretty astronomical if you think about that number. Within 3 months, 623 interventions. Program attendance, and that's what Alexia does. Program attendance for quarter 3, Alcoholics Anonymous had 50 participants. There were 73 chaplain visits, 39 participants in Narcotics Anonymous, 149 participants in Sunday religious service, 11 participants in Reflections in Writing, which is a literacy program. And now this one's kind of cool. At one point, about a year ago, the detention center determined that they were going to get rid of all of the paperback books in the library and just use that room as just a room, a programs room, which is needed. They said, well, the folks in there don't need paperback books because they can, they have tablets and they can read on their tablet. And Alexia did her research and she said, no, I think people really do need paperback books. And she had the research to back her up. And she got the detention center leadership on board. And she went a step further and she partnered with the Lewis and Clark County Library. And she now has a super card. So anybody can check out a book from the library. Alexia facilitates that. And in that third quarter, there were 552 participants in the library. So kind of a cool number. So just have to
Could we take a moment to recognize what a fine thing? I'm a big supporter of reading books and going to the library. And Alexis, would you stand up? I'd like to personally thank you.
She's also had the library donate books. So we get brand new, never read before books. We get used books. We have them in our office. The detention center has them. And then individuals can have their own copy of a book, which is, it's always nice to have that, your very own copy that you can dog ear or not, or underline or not. So thank you for acknowledging Alexia and her work.
That's fabulous.
And I will leave it at that unless you have other questions about our behavioral health team in the detention center.
I actually have a question about the funding. This started in 2000 and, this is an extension of the original program. My question is, so did we get $311,818.19 for last year and then an additional 311? And this is from the state?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, so it's 622.
Every year, I think since we have been here, we've received just over $300,000 for it used to be called something different. Now it's called the Heart Monies, but the state has supported our behavioral health work in the detention center with just over $300,000 a year. And they have committed to doing that next year as well.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. Is there, are there any questions, other questions from the,
If I
Tom?
might, Chair Payne, I understood that there was maybe some question about going forward, that the current legislature was trying to decide whether to continue to fund this. Do you have any update on that?
I do. So Chair, Commissioners, our department, Criminal Justice Services, does quite a few different things that the voters have asked us to do. We have a focus on jail diversion. We have a focus on mental health services for folks in the criminal justice system. And then we have a focus on data. So the funding you're referring to was for the pretrial services program, and that has been restored in the Senate. It was approved. So far, it looks like our pretrial services grant from the state is good. That is through the Office of Court Administrator, and we're just keeping our fingers crossed that it just stays in the budget. But that funding does not affect the work that we're doing in the detention center with behavioral health.
Good. Thank you.
Andy? any
Chair Payne?
question?
Yes, please, just a comment and a question, I guess, or an opportunity to, we need to blow our own horn here a little bit, I think, with the work that your team's doing in the detention center. But to preface that, just saying that this has been part of the plan. So when we went to the voters back in 18, I think it was 18? 17. We said that we were going to add programming to the detention center, and a big piece of that was going to be behavioral health care and have a team there, and that we would, as you just brought up a minute ago, track that and determine whether we're doing a good job or not, or if we're making an impact. So just opportunity to talk about what your team is doing in the detention center beyond just what we're hearing today about the grant. But when someone comes in, I mean, they're tending to the stress of being incarcerated, as well as ongoing behavioral health issues, a lot of crisis type of activities, and then with the anticipation that people are transitioning back to the community. So a lot of referrals and that kind of thing. So just talk about it a little bit. Maybe, I don't know if Jillian wants to add anything, but I think it's an opportunity to talk about the good work that we're doing a little bit.
Thank you.
In depth. Yes.
I love that opportunity, and I love talking about the team that is in our detention center. Lewis and Clark County is very special in the way that we approach behavioral health needs in our criminal justice system. We have a team of 4. One is a fully licensed therapist. She's also, we're kind of lucky because not only is she a licensed therapist, she's also a licensed addiction counselor. So that kind of comes in handy. In addition, she's looking at becoming a mental health professional person. So that's the one. She can address, and I will also say we have been fully staffed in the detention center for this entire fiscal year, which is exciting to have that team. So she can address suicidality, substance misuse disorders. In addition to her, we have a licensed addiction counselor. She's fully licensed as well. She's able to meet with individuals that are struggling with substance misuse disorders. So they make a great team, the 2 of them. And then we have a case manager. So that case manager, and it works with everyone. One of the things that we've seen that's unique to our work is that team advocates for the folks in the detention center. So when they recognize that there's somebody that they could get into treatment, they do the legwork, they try and get that individual into treatment, and then they reach out to the county attorney's office, public defender's office, and the judge is contacted to see if we can get a furlough. They have been successful in getting quite a few people furloughed into treatment. So instead of that individual sitting in the detention center, doing nothing and really degrading, those individuals are going to treatment and addressing those needs that they have. So it's really a positive for the whole community.
Thank you. Thanks, Chair Payne.
Any comments further from the commission?
Might, if I might
Certain,
ask,
go ahead, Tom.
ask one of the things that people looking on might question is that this appears to be coming up for approval here at the end of our budget year when we're already working on next year. Can you explain a little bit about the process that makes the final approval a little bit long in getting done?
I wish I could explain how all the state government programs work. I can't. I will say that we're always in communication with our state partners. Throughout this year, every month, we have invoiced the state for services, and they have paid those invoices. So that's on this $311,000 in front of you. We have not provided the services without invoicing and receiving funds. There just hasn't been the official contract in place, or the amended contract in place. But we have been working under the contract, working in collaboration with, communicating with, and providing those services that we know the state expects us to provide, that our community expects us to provide. I know it seems odd that it's already April and this went into effect in July. We may see the same thing moving forward. We have been told what the amount we will receive in fiscal year 26 will be, but I can't promise that we'll have that contract in front of us. We will continue working as we have been working. Is that?
I'm going to follow up, if I might.
Tom?
In other words, this is part of our original budget process from a year ago.
Yes.
And it's not an additional amount or anything
Correct.
like that. And we're just kind of going on good faith that we're going to get it, and so far it's worked out.
Yes, and that has been the case. That's been a pretty ongoing process with Department of Health and Human Services.
Thank you.
Yes.
Anything else? Are there any public comments regarding the amendment to the grant award between Lewis and Clark County and Montana DPHHS as explained by Kellie McBride? Any public comment? Seeing none, could we have a motion?
Chair Payne, I'd move that we approve the amendment to the grant award between Lewis and Clark County and Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services as presented by Director McBride.
Chair Payne, I am proud to second that motion.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve the amendment as described by Kellie McBride. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes 3-0. Thank you, Kellie, and thank you, ladies, for your hard work. We have now come to the part of the agenda where we will accept public comment on any public matter within the jurisdiction of the commission that is not on the above agenda. Please be sure, I forgot to mention, we asked people to sign in, but you can do that. We just want to know who it is. Get your name spelled right. I'm sorry. You have to get there and you have to state your name.
Daniel Osborne.
And we videotape this whole thing. So
so much.
that's why it's important that you speak into the
I
mic.
appreciate you helping me with the process. It's been a while since I've been in these kind of meetings, in a little while. My name is Daniel Wayne Osborne. I was raised here in Montana, here in Helena. It's my hometown. I've been sometimes by choice and sometimes not. Spending the last 20 years, more or less, in the trenches of the lower end of the socioeconomic scale, evaluating certain conditions and processes of the government and offices of public assistance, community action programs, shelters, behavioral health management systems, things like this. I'm an expert in that field. I graduated top of my class in psychology school while getting a business degree. I'm getting my master's degree in business here after I take one more exam. I've been doing this for a minute. I formerly was a member of the National Guard here. I enlisted when I was 17 years old, and all those things are important because I know what I'm talking about. I have very close experience with this for a very long time, and I've been in a lot of cities all over the West Central United States. I've never been in a worse city for those reasons, ever. I've spent the last 10 years in the most dangerous place in America, 90 minutes away from the most impoverished county in America, where every single day there are bodies by the creek that don't even get on the news. The life expectancy there is 45 years old. Helen is worse. Okay? I want to share more with you about this when I get back from treatment. For me, I'm recovering from a lot of trauma. There was a lot of reputational damage done in my life long before I was ever coming back here. And it's been progressive and deliberate in a lot of places. You can speak with the lieutenant of the police department, the mayor's office, and a few others, the secretary of state and others as well, that will substantiate everything that I'm saying here today. People in the city, from what I gather, and this is a little presumptuous and a little speculative, there is a claim that there are more people in this city with the capacity to be of service fiscally and financially than anywhere else in America, but it's not happening, okay? The cost of housing is more than double what it would be for two full-time family members, mom and dad working full-time in any entry-level job at all in any industry, not enough for any property management company to approve them for a regular house. They're forcing everybody into segregated housing. They're forcing them to basically go live out in the hills and break the law. I was on disability benefits for a long time and I canceled those. At the maximum allowable amount of my salary potential without breaking the law to lose my benefits, less than half of what it qualifies for a studio apartment in this city. I'm disgusted by that. I'm embarrassed to say I grew up here, and I would be stunned, almost only to just the tragic, not stunned either, to see what happens next. My great-grandfather was the first governor of this state. My last name used to be Whitehorn, okay? His daughter is my grandmother. Does that really matter? Not really. But it is bad, guys. It's really bad, okay? Miss Ann Miller, who was a rock star for so long, is always still, I love her so much. She's being manipulated and, in my opinion, abused by her own family to shut down the system there. Our place rejects people. The people that bought their building shut them down. They're aware of what's going on too. This is bad, people. Okay, we all have a duty, and it's a privilege also, but a duty to do something about this, and it's not being done. It is not. Because when you have millions going to people that solve the homelessness issue, what are they going to do when they solve the problem? Instead of increasing quality of life and moving to the next phase of their development, they don't. They want to keep the money. They don't want to learn new things. Also, I want to make comment that unrelated to this, but Montana constitutionally violating itself to hinder the central committees is a messed up problem. Remember when one of our governors ran for president, almost made it independently? He didn't even have a national independent party to run under. Now there is one, Federal Election Committee, just independent, period, PAC. I registered that myself, okay? Who cares? I don't. But we got to do something about this. There are people dying every single day out there that you guys will never even hear about, neither will their families. 1 year ago today, I was almost brutally murdered, stopping some guys from taking a girl. And that shouldn't matter either, and it doesn't. Okay, I'm so sad of what's going on in the city. I spent 20 years crawling on my hands and knees, sometimes literally, to get back home to a mess. Please take my words to heart, and please do something about this. That's all I have.
Thank you for your comments. Is there any other public comment on any matter today that's within the jurisdiction of this commission that is not on the agenda above? Seeing none, we will adjourn.